Anthony Cole was used to silence. The kind of silence that echoed through marble hallways and luxury penthouses. The kind of silence you could buy with money. But lately, it had started to feel heavy, like loneliness hiding behind gold-plated walls. That was why he enjoyed these undercover visits. Disguising himself as an ordinary clerk gave him a glimpse into a world that felt raw and real. No flattery, no fake smiles, no one trying to impress him. Just life as it truly was. Today, he walked through the doors of one of his own Cole Mart retail stores in the outskirts of the city. The place was lively, shoppers browsing, cashiers scanning items, workers stacking shelves. No one looked twice at him. Good. He adjusted the cap on his head and scanned the aisles, pretending to be on staff. He expected to catch laziness, maybe overhear rude remarks about management. But instead, he caught something far more unexpected, a sound so soft it nearly vanished under the hum of chatter. A quiet sob. He followed it to the corner of the children's aisle. There, sitting on the floor beside a display of plush toys, was a little girl. Her knees were pulled to her chest, her face buried between them. He hesitated. He didn't want to scare her. So he knelt down gently, resting on one knee beside her. "Hey," he said softly. No response. "I'm not gonna bother you. Just wanted to see if you're okay." Slowly, she lifted her face. Tear-streaked cheeks, red eyes, but something about her gaze was far older than her years. "I'm fine," she muttered, sniffling. "You don't look fine." She clutched a small teddy bear so tight it was almost squashed. Its fur was cheap and synthetic, nothing like the handcrafted toys his company sold in their premium line. Her clothes were worn out. Her shoes were ripped and tied together with string. She couldn't have been more than 10, but she looked like life had already shown her too much. "They won't let me pay," she whispered. She opened her palm. "A few coins. Maybe $1. I wanted to buy this for my mom. She's always tired. I thought, maybe if she had something soft to hug, she'd sleep better." Anthony's throat tightened. He forced a smile. "What's your name?" "Leah. Beautiful name." She wiped her nose. "What's yours?" He paused. He almost said Anthony. Instead, Tony. "Hi, Tony." The way she said it, trusting, fragile, made his chest ache. "Where's your mom now?" "Working." "Doing what?" "Cleaning rich people's houses." Anthony froze. His heartbeat stumbled. "What's her name?" "Maria." He didn't breathe for a moment. Maria, his Maria, the woman who scrubbed his floors every morning before he even woke up. The woman who greeted him every day with a quiet smile, even when she looked exhausted. He had known she was hardworking, but he had never imagined her life outside his walls. And now, here was her daughter, crying in his store because she couldn't afford a teddy bear. For the first time in a long time, Anthony Cole didn't feel like a billionaire. He felt like a man who had overlooked something important. Someone important. And in that moment, he silently vowed, this day would not end the way it began. As Tony stood beside Leah, still processing the weight of her words, the sharp heel click of authority cut through the moment. A stern-faced supervisor approached, arms folded tightly across her chest, looking down at them as if they were inconveniences rather than human beings. "What's going on here?" she snapped. "Why is this child sitting on the floor? This isn't a playground." "She was just," Tony began, calm but firm. "I wasn't talking to you," she interrupted, her gaze shifting to Leah. "Little girl, if you're not buying anything, you need to leave. You're disturbing the customers." Leah flinched, clutching the teddy bear protectively. Tony felt anger simmering beneath his skin. He rose slowly to his feet. "She is buying something," he said, voice low. The supervisor scoffed. "With what? That pocket change? Don't waste our time. We run a business here, not a charity." Tony held her gaze, expression unreadable. "And what kind of business throws out a crying child?" The supervisor narrowed her eyes. "The kind that doesn't tolerate loitering. Now, put the toy back and go, both of you." Both. She thought he was poor too. Tony took a deep breath. The old him, Anthony Cole in a boardroom suit, would have fired her on the spot. But right now, he was Tony. And Tony wanted this woman to reveal exactly who she was when she believed she held power. "Fine," he said, voice deceptively light. "Let's go pay." He reached for Leah's hand and guided her to the checkout counter. The girl hesitated, whispering, "Tony, I don't want you to get in trouble." "I won't," he assured her softly. At the register, the cashier scanned the teddy bear. "That'll be $12.99. Tony looked at Leah. Do you want anything else? Her eyes widened. No, just this. He glanced behind her. Worn shoes with peeling soles, a backpack held together with safety pins. You sure? He smiled gently. I've got a bit more than loose change in my pocket. For the first time, Leah hesitated, not from fear, but from unfamiliar hope. She looked at the shelves around her, eyes drawn to a pack of colored pencils. Then a new pair of sneakers. Then a pink jacket with fluffy sleeves. But she shook her head. No, my mom says we should only take what we need, not what we want. Tony swallowed hard. A child this young shouldn't have to think like that. We'll get what you need then, he said quietly. Before Leah could protest, he started filling the counter, clothes in her size, food items, school supplies. The cashier stared wide-eyed. The supervisor looked livid. Are you serious? She snapped. You can't just. Tony turned slowly. Get your manager. She blinked. What? You heard me. There was a pause, tension crackling in the air. Finally, she huffed and stormed off. Minutes later, the store manager arrived, a middle-aged man with nervous eyes. The moment he saw Tony's face clearly, his entire expression shifted from confusion to alarm. Mr. Cole. The supervisor paused mid-step. Mr. What? Tony reached into his hoodie pocket and pulled out a sleek platinum executive access badge, the one issued exclusively to company heads. I came to check on how my staff treats customers, he said evenly. And what I found was not a failure of policy. It was a failure of decency. The room fell dead silent. Even the cashier stopped breathing. Leah, still holding the teddy bear, looked up at him, not with fear, but with awe. Tony rested a hand gently on her shoulder. This girl reminded me of something important today, he said quietly so only she could hear. That kindness doesn't need wealth, just a heartbeat. With the entire store watching in stunned silence, Tony picked up the bags filled with Leah's new essentials and held her hand as they made their way outside. The manager trailed nervously behind them, still apologizing profusely. The supervisor stood frozen, her earlier arrogance evaporated like steam. Tony didn't bother responding to their apologies. His mind was already elsewhere, on Maria, on how she had shown up to work every single morning before sunrise, quietly sweeping marble floors while the city still slept. On how she had never once asked for a raise, help, or pity. And now, her child had been sitting alone in a store he owned, trying to buy her mother a $12 teddy bear with coins. He waved down a cab and helped Leah inside. She held the teddy bear against her chest like it was treasure. Are you sure your mom won't be mad? She asked timidly as the cab started moving. Tony smiled gently. If she's mad at all, it'll be at me. And I'll take it. They arrived at his mansion, an elegant estate that looked even bigger from Leah's perspective. She stared up at it, mouth open in awe. Does a king live here? She whispered. Tony chuckled. Something like that. Maria was inside, cleaning the grand hallway when they stepped through the doors. The sound of her daughter's voice froze her in place. Mama. She spun around, confusion melting into panic as she saw Leah with bags in hand. Her eyes shot to Tony immediately. Mr. Cole, I promise she wasn't supposed to be here. I don't know how she. Maria, Tony said calmly, setting the bags down. She's fine. Leah rushed toward her mother and threw her arms around her waist. Mama, I wanted to surprise you, but they wouldn't let me buy anything, and then Tony, Mr. Tony, helped me. Maria hugged her daughter tightly, tears instantly welling up. Then she looked at Tony, panic still flickering in her eyes. I beg you, sir, please don't fire me. She didn't mean to cause trouble. Tony lifted a hand gently. Maria, stop apologizing. She froze. You've spent years cleaning up after people who never asked how you were doing. You've taken care of my home like it was your own. And yet, his voice trembled slightly, I didn't even know you had a daughter. Maria lowered her eyes in shame. It's not your problem, sir. I didn't want to bring my struggles into your life. And yet, Tony said softly, your daughter brought them to mine. And I'm grateful she did. Maria looked up, stunned. You're not losing your job, he continued. In fact, you're getting a promotion. Full-time staff position, better pay, benefits, healthcare, and starting tomorrow, housing. You and Leah will move into the guest wing. Maria covered her mouth with her hands, choking on sobs. Mr. Cole, I can't accept. You can, Tony said firmly. And you will. He knelt down to look Leah in the eyes. And as for you, he smiled, you're going to school without worrying about supplies ever again. I'll take care of everything. Leah threw her arms around him, squeezing tight. You're the nicest rich person ever. Tony laughed, though his eyes glistened. For the first time in years, the billionaire didn't feel powerful because of what he owned. He felt powerful because of what he gave.